told me only took this record.
I know it's been a long day. Pretty short intro. Our first seminar
is a significant gender gap in the labor market. In other words, depending on how women are treated in general in countries, that's also reflective of whether or not they advance in competitions in those countries. Alright, so that's it for that section. So now I want to give some shout-outs to something that the WCA is doing really well regarding equity and inclusion. Alright, so here's a regulation from 2014. I'm going to read it. So, A3B1, when the judge believes the competitor is ready, he asks, ready? The competitor must be ready to start their attempt with 1 minute of the call, else he works his attempt begins at the discretion of the judge. So why did I pick this? Because it's from the regulation. So back in 2014 and earlier, the regulations refer to anyone in the regulations, so competitors, judges, cameras, officials, as EM. And this forcibly changed in 2015 and onwards. So the UAP was actually at the very top of the regulations, basically readability, so that you have to write he or he throughout the entire writing, and if you look even earlier on, it actually said, under this, we welcome both female and male competitors. It actually cut that out. But eventually it switched to using them. So here's an example of that. This is the same line. This is what it looks like when you want to have a competitor advance to replace their spot. Notice that they use they everywhere for the competitor. So it says, you have to move the person and replace them with other qualifying competitor. And this is everywhere on the WCA website, and all the documents, and it's been going back since 2015. So I think that's something we did really well. That's something that was quite progressive for its time, and it's catching on a lot now. But the WCA did that starting in 2015. Alright, another thing that we're doing well is not having two gender options when you make your WCA. Offering out male, female, and other. And this is public information that you can find in the WCA database. And I did it because people who chose other try to figure out what are the reasons, the obvious ones for choosing other. I think the obvious one is for people who are non-binary who don't identify as male or female, but also some people choose it because it basically just makes a blank part on your page where the gender would be, so it doesn't actually display male or female. Some people choose it because they don't want to show up in gender ratings, and some choose it because they don't really know their gender yet, or they don't think it's anyone's business. So it's not like a non-binary option other ways. And I did see people who said they actually did want non-binary to bring on their profile because they're tired of getting subtle hits and explaining how they don't know how to work. So here's an idea of it. So what if it looked like this instead? So I said this page is not a screenshot. So the idea is that for people who want to basically let others know they are non-binary, have that option available to them, and also let them reflect more active data. Again, notice that in the database, we do have competitors who are anonymous, and it says their gender is other, but there are also competitors whose gender was never collected, and it's just null, meaning it's just not there. And having these two different options today solves a lot of problems with police and uses the data in the database. Alright, so I also talked to a lot of female competitors, and we all very much like this page. So this is a page where you can see gendered rankings sorted by country and also historical writing. So here are your top writing for the world with CubingUSA. We are also very grateful that these are non-official. This is just for fun. It's just a motivation. It's something to do with something fun, but it's not actually appearing anywhere on our profile. Meanwhile, as feedbacks. This is for dramatic effect, not because I lost. So, let me read what it says on this page. So first of all, they have age-based divisions as well as gender have headers and guests who could be wheelchair users and to find places that are wheelchair accessible. So another thing is when you do find something hidden, make sure you include that information directly on the company website. So instead of giving directions saying enter this door, take the stairs, rooms on the left, please also include how to get there by an elevator or a ramp or any other accessible way. Another thing is to ensure that the venue has gender-neutral washrooms, and most modern buildings will have them. They come by many names: gender-neutral, gender, universal. If it's an older building, it might call it unisex, which is an outdated term, but it's still the same type of washroom. Basically, it's a single stall. It's not a new idea. You all have these in your homes. Every washroom in your home is gender-neutral. It's not a revolutionary idea. And you want to get in the habit of when people ask where the washrooms are, to include directions to men's, women's, and all gender washrooms. Similar to transition washrooms, there is a lot of misinformation about these, and a lot of these stem in fears that are irrational, and they are just frankly transphobic. So the idea is that it is best for everyone if we allow people to use washrooms that are for gender identity and expression. So sometimes this is posted directly on the washroom, but not always, and confirm just based on the venue whether it's safe to use these washrooms or not. So if you think about it, there are some places that unfortunately force people to use washrooms according to their birth gender. If we think about that, it makes absolutely zero sense, because it's going to force trans women to use male washrooms and trans men to use women's washrooms, which I don't know about you, but that makes no sense to me. We want to ensure that it's a safe place for everyone, and so allow people to make the best judgment for themselves is really important. Alright, I'm going to talk a lot about the check-in process. So I know that a lot of you think that this is just kind of a small thing in competitions, it's the place where you get your name in, but I like checking a lot, I usually check in online competitions, and there are some interesting ways that we can go about this to ensure that it is inclusive. Alright, so I have some general advice for anyone running a check-in. So first, when you see, let's say, a family approaching, you see some adults with two kids, a boy and a girl, who do you think the competitor is going to be? Now, most of the time you will be right, it will be the boy, but you really don't want to make that assumption, because by doing that, you're sending a really damaging message that don't know there. And also when you're wrong, it's really embarrassing. Another thing is to use the opportunity to learn how to say your name. Since everyone goes through check-in, it's a really good chance to learn how to say everyone's name. And I highly recommend having someone at check-in who is good at learning names, or someone who can write down phonetically how to say names and competitors. And the last thing is to monitor the microaggressions surrounding the item checks, and I'll be talking about this a lot. So a microaggression is a small act, but over time they make a really big impact. So, in my competitions, I decided to stop doing item checks with competitors, and here's my rationale. supply teacher who is doing roll call, and it's pronouncing everything terribly. And it's really funny, but if you think about it in real life, it can be really frustrating for competitors, especially if they're racialized, if their name is constantly mispronounced. And so I mentioned that it's nice to have someone, a check-in to learn everyone's names. I also recommend that you teach runners to go up to competitors and ask what their name is before they absolutely say it terribly, especially since runners can be very young kids and they're not always good at pronouncing names. This is a strategy I'll highly recommend. So ensuring that you have record of what their name is and you are teaching runners to ask what their name is before they say it. Oh, it's also for award ceremonies so that when you are celebrating people who got awards, that their names are not being pronounced. So another thing that's important to people is their own handwriting. For a lot of people, their handwriting is an important part of their identity, much like their name. And so I've done data entry for a long time, and I know the frustration of not being able to read the scorecard and figure out what they are. But I think it's really important that we don't force people to write digits to our standards, because there are multiple correct ways to write every digit. There are a lot of different variations around the world. And if you say you must write a 4 this way, or you must write 7 this way, that is very culturally insensitive. So I give a solution. Handwriting examples. So I started with exams. It looked like it caught on because we are also doing this competition. We make people who are judging write out how they write each digit. So instead of us telling them how to write, they are telling us how they write for us to figure out how they write. This is much more inclusive. It saves a lot of time and it's a lot nicer. So on the topic of inclusion, if you want to show that you are an ally, it's really encouraged that you post what your pronouns are. This is a sign to show that you're an ally to the US LGBTQ+IA community, and it's also very practical, and it helps your competitors not have to explain all the time how pronouns work. A lot of people help cut costs by sharing their own pronouns. And whenever you're talking to someone in the third person at competitions, it's really helpful to know what their pronouns are. So what I recommend is for staff applications, you ask as one of the questions what your pronouns are, and you also want to give the option to leave it blank if they don't want to disclose it. And this is important because when you reach out to the references to ask about them, you're going to be talking to them in the third person, so you want the correct pronouns there. And another example is head-to-head finals, where every competitor is introduced. If you ask the competitor what their pronouns are, they won't be misgendered when they are coming up to those events. Alright, so something that started a couple years ago, 2 years ago. Oh, I see the gorgeous right there. So pride competitions are awesome. They're basically pride game competitions where proceeds go towards supporting the US LGBTQIA+. You can find things like mosaics, one feature of these competitions is to put pronouns on name tags, and it's a awesome feature of visibility. So here's an example of one from November 5 this year. Alright, this is my last slide. So I talked a lot about competitors about how they feel about female podiums. So sometimes in competitions, they award the fastest female you can win. I see some people here who clearly have some opinions about that as well. So honestly, it's quite mixed. Most females do not like this, whereas some do. But we all agree that 1, it should not be a surprise, and 2, it should only be awarded if it's an actual accomplishment. So it doesn't make sense to be the fastest female if there's like 3 females. It's not a real accomplishment. But if they do really well compared to males, I think that's worth shouting out. So I think that's a point where it's good to ask the competitor if they want the award, and then award it if they want it. So here's an example from Speed Cubing Australia. This is our female members, and we're very happy to have this posted, and this is really good for representation. So thank you.
I got 2, is that okay?
Yes.
ID if they wanted that, if you can still change their information for them.
That is as a customer the results team, and the ID for transfer headers do not have to match the request. It can be a ID.
And then you had a great section on ID checking. I liked a lot of what you brought. Are you planning to present that to WCA? You're currently pushing a lot for having ID checks in competition, specifically in North America.
Please.
Yeah. So he, so they can say that WCA is pushing for ID checks. This is something that
question for like other regions who want to do that same thing, because I know there's some regions who are sort of forcing their staff to write their numbers in a specific way that I'm not necessarily comfortable with. World Championship 6-3 in 2 weeks. So I just want to say, how difficult do you think that would be to sort of mimic in other regions? Do you think that's something that other regions should be able to do independently, or that should be a standard practice?
That's a really important question about handwriting samples, and Chris mentioned that there are around the world that are suddenly forcing people to write digits in the way that we mentioned earlier that was also inappropriate, and I understand that. Unfortunately, for handwriting samples, it's very easy to implement, so I think that could be a factor, even if they do believe that it's easier for people to write numbers the same way. The reality is that it's a complicated issue, and it's just that everyone will write the way they want, as long as they tell us how they write it, we can figure it out. So just making a handwriting sample is just a simple Google Doc, and if anyone wants to become like that, we'll share it with you. I do think that it's possible, as long as enough cops are doing it, to have that as a standard. Can you say
question. So most of your suggestions seem to be around retaining and making the competition environment more inclusive and comfortable. What about getting more females there in the first place?
That's a really good question. So Chris asked, we mentioned that a lot of my suggestions are for keeping females who are trained. What about getting more to in the first place? So I did some separate research on why keeping might be less inclusive females, but I wasn't really confident enough to share it because it feels kind of informal. So I don't really have any answer to that, but that is something I'm going to be looking into.
mic.
So I don't think it'd be like they would make you use it every time. Like these
Okay, so before I start, I'd like to ask a quick question. So, by show of hands, how many of you guys are under representation competition here? Okay, that's pretty good. For the ones that are not raising their hands, I'm pretty sure you guys are lying. So, let's start. So, also, I've also been very nervous at giving competitions before. Last year, I attended my first ever big competition for American Champs. And something very unfortunate happened. So my main event is landings, and before going to the competition, I was seated second place. But due to some circumstances, I ended up getting fourth place at the competition. And something similar also happened at Alexis in NASA 2019.
Oh yeah, so last 2019, heading into the competition, I was fourth place, like making some especially. And when I came to compete in the final, I placed fourth. At the time, I ended up really badly and cried after the final because I was really disappointed that the podium. But in the end, I think I got really a lot from that, and I'll share because of those experiences.
Yeah, so when you don't get the results you want, what do you think tends to happen? Like anyone can answer. Yeah, getting mad is not a good point. So I think some things that happened at NAC, this is my first ever big competition. I think another thing that happened was hardware. Hardware is a very important part in high level of competing, and unfortunately my hardware was quite bad, and I think that was a big reason that I didn't do as well as I should have. Another thing is, I think I let my seat prior to the competition kind of affect me. I think some of the similar things also happened with the West.
So going into the competition, I had a really bad mindset where like the size of the competition kind of scared me and intimidated me. While I should have treated it as a local competition, I should have visualized it as something that is smaller than the national really is. And also, you know, average. I was also thinking of APA, which is horizontal average and that's also average. Earlier in I got out of the line and just turned out at me. And I thought a lot about how I went to the next last two results. Because if I did it, I would have been out of the podium for sure. But I shouldn't have done that because I created a lot of pressure where I just think about my times instead of just thinking about myself all my life. And also, I prioritized my time faster and not really thinking about my head and my ability and agency. So I recommend that if you're doing like bigger things like 5 or 3 or beginnings, I suggest trying to turn slower so you can prioritize the beginning and efficiency.
Yeah, so now we're going to go over some tips to deal with pressure.
So I think the most common way to handle pressure is to do deep breaths in your visual selves. A lot of people exercise and take a lot of breaths before to stress them. But I found that taking deep breaths during this call actually helps. If you have access to a good review, if you can take some deep breaths, you're able to kind of put yourself back into the mindset of just turning it up. You won't really think about how well this
think the next tip that will help you deal with pressure is setting realistic goals. Obviously, setting goals is a very good thing to do. Gives you a sense of direction and what you need to do to achieve that goal. But sometimes, before big competitions, you might have some lofty expectations. And I think trying to there's some things that you want to do to try to avoid putting too much pressure on yourself by setting unrealistic goals.
Another thing that a lot of people do are competitions where you are at home, trying to play a competition as music cover. Also, I recommend trying to play a YouTube video that has crowd sounds to the competition that's when I'm at this competition, we did a team practice, and we did 2 salt speech where we treated each 15 salts as 3 rounds of 30 minutes. And I asked a question to the and we treated each 5 salts as 1 round, and we tried to simulate the competition as best as we could. And we kind of had a rivalry in there, so we kind of simulated that our rivalry in the actual competition.
Yeah, Alexi kicked my ass pretty hard. So next point I'm going to go over is fluidity over GPS. So especially in high pressure environments, fluidity is definitely more important, especially for Mega Minx, my main event. I think one of the issues that I used to have prior to this competition was focusing way too much on TPS. Focusing too much on TPS can lead to a lot of lockups, and it can also affect your look ahead greatly. So I think something that a lot of people can work on is trying to be smoother in your slope and try to incorporate more look ahead rather than just faster.
So the next point is focusing on the quality of salts. Most people just look at the time, but in order to do better each time in the competition, you need to look at how that salt actually went into the quarter salt and see what went wrong. If you focus too much on the time, you might get a little bit lost in your practice because you're just focusing on the time and you're actually doing what you're doing and how to do it.
So another very important point is friends. I'm sure many of you guys have met and have a lot of cubing friends at Nationals this year. And I think friends help you a lot in terms of improving and dealing with pressure, especially if you don't get the results that you want. You always have a support system that can back you up if you feel better. And if you do great, then they'll be really happy for you. I think that's something that people have experienced after Nats finals for Mega this year. We had a bunch of friends just come up to us, congratulate us. It's just something really nice that I think a lot of people should just take into account. Friends are really the most important part of cubing.
Also, out of practice sport competitions, usually, in my experience, if I ever practice sport competition, I would do races because I would think that, I can just get better results right away because I practice. But in reality, it's better to practice a little less than usual because it makes you really less nervous and practice a lot. We have a lot of build up to the competition and ultimately you achieve more and think about how yourself is.
So the last tip to deal with pressure is visualization. I'm not sure if any of you guys have tried this technique before, but I know a lot of top athletes do incorporate visualization in their training. So basically, visualization allows you to take into account your worst possible outcome or best possible outcome. It's just something you can do on your spare time. Just lay down, think about, try to feel out what's gonna happen at a certain event. So for me, for example, so before Nats, I would think about how Nats finals would make me feel, what times I would get, how I would react, if I got a bad solve, or how I'd react if I got a good solve. It just kind of helps you take into account every possible outcome, and that kind of reduces nerves. Yep. So cubing and sports are, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys compete in sports. Can you guys show by like a raise of hand? Yeah, so I think cubing and sports are quite related. So the first thing is time. So the difference between cubing and sports in regards to time is in cubing you have 5 solves, and then in between each solve you get to kind of reset your mental and kind of figure out like how you want to approach the next solve. However, in sports, even if you're competing in multiple events, you generally only get one opportunity to perform well.
Okay, so in sports, I'll take swimming for example. Coaches motivate you a lot to do well playing cubing. I think that part is missing. You're your own motivator in this case, and you have to just rely on yourself most of the time to calm your nerves. Like in my experience with swimming, I've had coaches that help me after tough races and have helped me calm my nerves a bit.
So the next thing is practice. I think cubing practice and sports practice can be related, but I think the intensity is quite different. For cubing practice, everything is basically on you unless you have a coach. It's up to you to decide how much you want to practice, how realistic you want your practice to be, and how much stuff you actually want to learn prior to a competition. But in sports, you have a person to guide you. You generally have a coach. If you're not pushing hard enough, they'll tell you. And I think just focusing, just like realizing how much practice like actually you need to do before like a big competition is like important.
Okay, so we interviewed Tommy. So the first speaker that we interviewed is Daniel Martin, or some of you know him. So the first question I asked is how he recovered from his 25 seconds per overall in the Indian US Nationals final. And basically, what he did is he just didn't think about it. He just went with the mentality of, oh, I'll just follow the goal the next result, and not really think about it. And in Matt's plan, he got the points to square one. And as I mentioned earlier, how he did this is by having like really good friends that have supported him along those years of the square one. And because of that, he was able to get through the fourth place and have a better mentality out of the competition. And so general first thing about nerves is like I was earlier, is visualization. Oftentimes in square one, Daniel imagines himself as maxed out, and that makes him kind of solve better because he's imagining himself really good instead of being a really bad solver. And the final tip that he gave is just to smile. If you are nervous in competitions, that means that you care a lot about winning, and that should be valuable.
So the next person we interviewed was Tommy Cherry. As many of you know, he got the world record in clock during finals. So if Tommy is in this room, congratulations. So one of the tips that Tommy gave me was just try to not think about the competing too much, and to like reduce nerves, he kind of warms up a bit, especially for blind. Like, oh, and also another tip that he gave was to socialize. I think socializing in like a waiting area is a good thing to do to kind of reduce nerves. But obviously for events like blind, he just said to practice a bit and then to like try not to think about competing too much. So here are some final thoughts that we have. So the first one is that we just wanted to let you know that pressure is a privilege. What I mean by this is like when you're competing, I think it's good to realize that a lot of people don't have the opportunity that you would be able to have, especially at like big competitions like nationals. So if you do happen to make a final, or if you do happen to podium, I think you should just realize that nerves are going to be a part of everything, but just like knowing how to deal with them and just realizing that cubing is also a hobby is a very important thing.
Also, the reason why is because most of the time people have pressure and competition is because of their friends who are motivating them and empowering them to do well. And and if that is the case, I think that it's a privilege to have that support in one's cubing journey, and that should be definitely something that should be done.
Finally, some tips for parents. I know some people tend to like to push their kids a bit, some stuff they do. I think for cubing, it's important to kind of let your kids do their own thing. If they wish to become more fast or become faster or something, they'll be able to do it on their own. And also, this like helps them improve and kind of like learn how to like improve on their own. So that's it. Any questions? Okay, if not, thank you.
Forward one more panel.
Do I get the mic or should I scream?
Here's the mic. I'm going to get your slides done.
Matthew asked me if you can hear in the front because he says that there's an echo. This is okay? Okay, cool. Intimidating. Seeing everybody. You guys are all here to hear the secrets of Max Park and how he gets the times and stuff, right? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you. I promise. A little bit later. Okay.
Can they hear you?
Yeah, you can. Oh, you can't hear me? How about this? Mastering success. Okay. Everything that I know. Okay, it's not working. Okay, it's not working. But everything that I learned about speed cubing, I learned from Max. As you all may know, Max has autism, and when we first started cubing, it had nothing to do with cubing. Some of you might know the story, but Mickey signed Max up for speed cubing because we saw it as a giant opportunity to use as a play date or using it to sort of use it social opportunities. To try to teach him how to wait in line and to just look at people in the face, get a cue, you know, I'm ready, say I'm ready, you gotta wait your turn. That's why we went. Now, little did we know how amazing the speed community was. And one of the things that I always say to every new parent that comes to a comp that I meet, I congratulate them because I say, this is the luckiest day of your life. And I truly mean that. Because it's not just your kid is excited to be here, but you as a parent are going to join a community that is going to do half your kids' teaching for you. The cubers learn just instinctively certain things like PB. I mean, what is a PB? If you think about it, it's teaching your kids to, or they learn instinctively that you're just incrementally getting better, and that's okay as long as you're going in the right direction. Now, how valuable is that of a lesson for a parent to teach their kid? You know, to understand that you're not going to always have these giant leaps and bounds of improvement. But you see these kids, they just get super excited when they have like fractions of a second improvement. And I noticed that when we first started cubing with Max and we were around other kids his age, which is 10 years old, we saw them grow up, and a lot of these things that they learn in cubing, they seem to carry it over into successful their college life and academics, and also later in life. I mean, a lot of the delegates that they have professional lives, they're at the top of their industry, and I can't help but think that I saw consistency. I was wondering, maybe they got this from cubing. To me, I just see that the kids that, when they come to comp, they just get a good sense of self, and then they get a good sense of who they are, and they have something to look forward to when they go to every competition. So I am just so thankful to this community. I think this community is amazing. I feel so grateful as a parent. I always like to share that information with other parents and how grateful that they should be, that these kids are amazing. These kids that are here, they all are amazing. So, but for me, thank you very much for what you have given to our family and helping Max. I can't tell you how grateful we are because our goal as parents is always to raise, contribute like successful adults into society. And I honestly believe that if our kids took over to become the leaders of our country, that we would have such an incredible world. Because most of these parents, I know you've seen this the first time you go to a competition, you see 12-year-olds judging, and you see 3 sort of older adults, and they're running this competition. And it's so amazing. I mean, you almost never see that anywhere else. In you know, like as an adult, I almost never, I mean, we pay people, you know, where I used to work, and it would never go that smoothly. And so, you know, it's just, this community is just amazing. So anyway, I wanted to make sure I thank everybody and just remind all the parents how amazing your kids are and how lucky we should all be that we found this Cuban community. I'm also always saying, you know, we need to grow this community, but I'm actually quietly thinking to myself, I would like to keep it really small and really just how, you know, it's so quaint and, you know, everybody knows each other. But I know that this is such an amazing thing that we really should share with a lot more other people, a lot more other families. So my job, I think now, is to just make sure everybody understands how amazing the Cuban community is and how much your kids will benefit from that. Okay, now having said that, I am going to go into what everybody's more interested in, success in Cubing, as far as how we approached it with Max. Everything that we did with Max, like I said before, was through autism. When we have to, let's say, go to a wedding, one of the things that we would have to do is we would have to get pictures of the venue. We would have to sort of do a walkthrough of like how Max is going to, where he's going to sit, how he's going to approach where he's going to sit, how he's going to dress. It was almost like a dress rehearsal. That's how we had to approach a lot of things with people on the autism spectrum, especially Max, my son. And that helped to ease the nerves, and it helped him to sort of get familiar with the environment. So when we went to the first Cubing competition, we did exactly that. We said, this is what's roughly going to look like, okay? And so we actually did a run, and working with Max's ABA, which is Applied Behavioral Analysis therapist, we actually just sort of mimicked and ran through a competition. And that's where sort of the idea started with helping Max sort of ease pressure and get familiar with competition. And we noticed that the more we did that, the more he sort of started to ease up in competition later on, because there was a lot of nuances that we still had to practice. When we did more competitions, there were still other things that happened. Anytime something weird happened, we would have to practice. That could happen again. The fire alarm would go off, and then we would have to practice. Okay, what do? We have to get up, go here, do this. But the more we did this, we kind of realized that this helped him to calm his nerve. And so we sort of incorporated it into his cubing, making things more familiar. And one of the things that we realized was we were also trying to create sort of like that anxiety and pressure on the competition. So something that he knew he was going to experience here. And so we started to get the idea, you know, that every cuber gets nervous, right? And we thought to ourselves, well, instead of trying to tell them, hey, don't be nervous or calm down, how often does that work anyway, right? Telling somebody to be calm, yeah, that would really work, right? It doesn't work at all, and probably even make it worse anyway. But we started thinking to ourselves, what if we raise the temperature in the practice and get a sensitized to sort of like the pressure? Because the more you experience it, the more you're familiar with it. So the foundation of sort of like how we approach Max's cubing competition and sort of like getting better at nerves is we realized that was a really good way to go. To practice sort of like, almost like practice being nervous more than trying to practice being calm. And so that's how we sort of approached Max's competition, and we found a great success in that. And so we just sort of started doing more of that. We started playing, we got the display. We got used the timer. We started in the beginning, like a lot of computers, next was the phone timer, and then we sort of eliminated that. We don't use that anymore. And I think Kevin Hayes will agree with that. He said never use the hand timer. It's going to make your cubing worse. I think I would agree with that. And so we just kept that, doing the same thing, raising the pressure, and we just sort of went down that track and helped Max to develop that. Now, obviously, we're going to mimic sort of like the competition. What you're going to do is you're going to need some of the help. This is where parents come. And I know a lot of times the parents, I know I certainly was like this at the beginning of this lesson. Didn't feel very comfortable doing anything. I was always just in the background looking at things like that. But, you cubers can influence your parents into getting more involved, like judging and even possibly getting them or teaching them how to scramble. You're going to build a great relationship with your family, that's for sure. You guys are going to have something to do together. But if parents can just learn simply to just learn how to scramble like 3 or 4 or 5 moves a day, you'll find in very no time that it's going to be really easy for you to do. It's not that hard. It's a lot like typing. You know how to type? It's very similar in concept that once you do it enough times, it's going to become very easy. And as a parent, if you can help your kids in this situation going through mimicking competition, it's going to help. And to make it as much more like competition, it almost would create like anxiety and pressure. And one of the other ways you can also do that is you don't get to do like, 50, 100 solves. Maybe if you help your kids scramble and go through, averages of 5 and maybe do it 3 times. Because that's really what you get to do when you're in a competition. Okay? So that's going to raise the temperature for the kid because he knows he's only going to be able to do it 3 times. He's going to be much more nervous. It's going to feel much more real. And I think that that's a great way to help him practice nerves, pressure, because it's going to be the same similar thing. And for Max, it certainly helped. It became more familiar, and it wasn't that he was calmer. I think he did become calmer because, in a way, he got desensitized to the nerves. So when he was up here, it was familiar, so it kind of naturally. The other thing that I wanted to share with you, I spoke with Felix about this also. I said, what do you do when you're nervous, or how do you deal with it? He had a drill called the 15-minute drill, and it was conceptually very similar to what we were doing, which is thinking about the pressure, working on pressure. And what Felix does is he does an AO of 5, average of 5, but what he does is he doesn't have anybody help him, but what he does is he goes and scrambles it, puts it under the cover, okay, and then he goes, and then he walks around for a couple of minutes, comes back, takes the cover off, and then he solves it. Okay, and then after that, he writes down his time, he notates it, and then he goes, scrambles it again, puts it on the cover, and then walks away for another 2 or 3 minutes. What he said he was practicing was he was practicing the competition. You wait a long time before you're called up again. He wanted to sort of get the same tempo and feeling, because he sort of at one point realized, he said, you don't really, if you practice like 5 in a row within like 3 minutes, you don't get that tempo and rhythm in the cubing competition. You don't get to solve that quickly, one right after another. So he wanted to do something, once again, to sort of like think about things, he's gonna walk away, very similar to the way he did in competition. So once again, I think that that's something that a lot of YouTubers can think about practicing, doing it that way. The last thing that we do with Max with cubing that has helped him a lot with pressure is we sort of, at the time when his averages were like about 7 seconds, we could see that the pressure was getting to him in his last solve was very high, right? Because we know the averages he's going for, and the last solve, there's a lot of pressure on there. So once again, going back to the desensitization concept, we would practice by giving them 3 solves. We would just arbitrarily, similar time to what you would get in competition, but a little bit better, right? A little bit of pressure on there. He's getting 3 good times, and then we would only let him do 2 solves. So under that circumstances, he saw the times, he knew what he had to get, and he had to practice that. He wasn't going to get 4 or 5 tries on that. Once again, it was feeling pressure. can you do that? And I think that the last thing that Max started to do, I guess, later in his team career, he just didn't practice as much. He practiced more efficiently. So one of the things he did start to do, like in the mornings, is he would only give himself 15 solves. And he had to live with that day. He wouldn't get any more. He would just 15 solves, and that was what he said was notated for that day. I don't know if you guys see that sometimes when you walk by his table, you see that big notebook that he writes down all that stuff. Anyway, that's exactly what he's doing. He's giving himself a set amount, and then he lives with that. And he practices pressure that way. So anyway, hopefully some of this stuff has helped. I don't know if it has. I don't know if the stuff all sounds like crap. I don't know. But I just wanted to share with you what Max does in his practices and what he's doing these days. But it focuses mostly on just efficient practice. He certainly is running new algorithms and things like that, but really he does like to really put a lot more pressure onto his practice and solving. So he does work a lot with his parents. And so I really do encourage parents, if, you know, just to give it a try. Learn to scramble, and if you can help your kids out, even just, you know, you don't have that much time in the day, so just scramble 15 solves. 3 sets of 5, AO5, just like in a competition. And I think you're going to be helping your kids tremendously with competition nerves, because they're going to learn competition nerves at home, and it'll hopefully help you calm them down when they're here at the competition. So anyway, that's all I got. Does anybody have any questions or anything about? Nope? Okay. Thank you.
CubingUSA. Started the USA like two of us, my brother Max, who is not here today.
Right here. Mouth, maybe. Like we're skinny.
Alright, do you guys know?
what's going on, at least in the class. And it's generally no fault of the competitor. It's generally just either they didn't pay attention to the competitor tutorial, maybe they're not good at handwriting, but you get stuff like this. You also get instances like on the right, where you can see Maddie going around from the light, figure out the signs outside of us. Sorry, that's just the half by regulations.
Back over. We're still going.
Do you know that one scorecard can have up to 12 different hands sometimes to make it group, the time is entered in the data? Each one of those 12 people can make a very minor mistake where any little thing on your scorecard can just be incorrect. And any result that you might get, this might be entered completely wrong. There's a lot of room for error in 12 hands. Data being round 2. Sometimes it can take a really long time for your data to get entered. Between those 12 different hands, there's a whole bunch of time, not to mention if staff has to take a lunch or something and scorecards don't get entered until after. Sometimes you don't know if you want to stay for the competition if you didn't make round 2.
Duplicates? Raise your hand if you're a competition. That's not cool. But it's no one's fault. People make mistakes. Happens.
Click.
Also, to all the delegates out there, you might notice sometimes in reports there are lots of incidents, and you don't have to actually really put them in. Like, you've got to type them out, or maybe you put them into some kind of document, or maybe you write one back to the scorecard, or you look through them all, and it takes time to put them in, and oftentimes nobody reads it. It's a waste of our time, and it takes time.
You got it.
Also, double checking data. Double checking data is very important. As an organization, who prides ourselves in correct data, it's very important that we do double check data. However, this is also a very time-consuming process. Something to note is a lot of times people who've never been to a competition, or maybe they've been to competitions where data gets taken really quickly double check the competition, but going to a competition in an area where maybe they don't do that at a competition, they don't have the resources, they don't have the time, they might be waiting for like almost a week before they get results, or even the same. And honestly, some of the verbiage can be kind of confusing. A lot of competitors will send me emails that do a little part up within a day or two, asking me, how do I get my WCID? It's an honest, good question. And it doesn't cover it as well, but when we're missing information like this, we'll start doing cases on the results. It creates more time for people to ask these questions that honestly, if they didn't have to think about it, they wouldn't be asked. So those are the competitions of the 20th century. And see if you can get some cool integration the display tells them what to select, and a competitor ability can manually override pretty much anything that's already in there. Maybe the display did read a wrong number. Maybe the timer says 6.25 and not 6.24, like the display says. A delegate's able to go ahead and edit that from that reading that it happens.
Streamline competitor experience. So we aim to streamline competitor experience. With this system, it's much easier and much quicker to get all your data entered, as well as being much more accurate. There's no more signing scorecards. There's no more waiting. There's no more missing signatures. Yeah! Let's go. As a scrambler, you get to see exactly what all the competitor is going to be on, and only that's one scramble is going to show up in scramble. So you're never going to accidentally scramble for scramble 2 instead of scramble 3, or 4 instead of 5.
Also, the results will be submitted to the ministry results, but you need to follow the competition with the exception of if you have to, on the ability to sometimes have to answer some questions and verify some things. But outside of that, it's as it gets. No double checking required. Also, this is much easier than the current system. On top of that, it doesn't take AA batteries to run.
Next slide.
So how does it, right? As a competitor, no more DNS signature! Your time will be input accurately and instantaneously.
Instantly puts the results to a server that will hopefully link to the official results page. Anytime you get it, it's instantly. Anytime you get it, you don't have to calculate it, you'll see it up right away. You'll know exactly what you get to round 2. As soon as you finish the first round, as soon as the round is over, you'll know if you're in round 2 or not.
No more duplicate scrambles! On top of that, your scorecard will end up on WC scorecard board! So we're going to show you a demo now. So the way that this works is the competitor is going to, when you drop their key off, they're going to drop their layer and edit this tag on. What's going to happen next is that cube, when it goes to the scrambler will tag it to the computer. The computer is going to show only that scramble, so in this case, the first scramble. The scrambler will then tag their tag to the scanner, and that will ensure a scramble signature! I don't know why you imply that this anymore. But the cube comes back to the station, and the judge tags the station. And on the back, you can't see it, but it'll say reading. And then it's going to say Dan Paskashov, solve 1. And it's going to show a time on the back, which is currently 0, because that's what the stat pad displays. Dan's going to start his time. And now you can see the live updates on here, it's also live updating on the back. Also, not only does it show the time on the back, it also shows the scramble numbers. In this case, it shows scramble 1. So Dan has stopped the solve, and at this point, what happens next is the judge is going to hit the OK button. But maybe there's a penalty. Maybe there's a penalty. Oh no, Dan didn't solve the puzzle.
Careful, it's gonna fall. I know.
Or maybe Dan forgot to do the finish, like the last 2 moves. So we're gonna DNF. Dan actually did solve the puzzle and followed all the WCA procedures outside of the fact that he didn't have a judge, but I mean, I'm talking to him. I possibly couldn't do all of this. So we're gonna push the OK button on the back, and at this point, that acts as a judge's signature. Now, in future systems, we might be changing how this works to some extent based off of any feedback that we get from the regulations committee. Preliminary, reach out to one of the members. It did suggest that maybe we should have tags for judges, so maybe instead of an OK button, we might change that to a tag for the judge. But in the system that we have this prototype for, we have an OK button. Now Dan is going to sign to confirm that his time is correct. He's going to tag the top of the display. And if you look at the screen, it's up there! And you can go down your whole solve. It's the whole process, and it's just a drop-in experience for competition. Now you might be wondering, how long? Well, to be honest, at the moment, the regulations do not allow this in its current stage. But that doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way. Basically, we just need to talk to the regulations committee and see if they're willing to work with us and if they're willing to make any changes. And I have some pretty high confidence they will, but I mean, we'll see. Regardless, though, we can still use this system once all the stuff is finished with it. As you can see, you're seeing a demo, but that doesn't mean that everything works 100% as we want it to when we launch it. So when we first launch it, we will be running alongside Scoreboard. Now I know that it can sound like a really sad thing. If you put up with it for so long, we can get through this. So the scorecards will be run through at the same time. You'll follow all the procedures for this, plus all the procedures for the scorecard, which probably will mean you still have to sign your scorecard. But we hope to get through this phase, hopefully pretty quickly, before we feel confident in rolling out the scorecard. Now in the system, your results will still be uploaded instantly, and the only real difference is you have this scorecard as a backing just for compliance. And if something doesn't work, we still have a system that works. So that's pretty cool. And eventually, we'll complete your scorecards, and we don't know how long it's going to take, but we will. Now we plan on starting this off in the Bay Area, as that's where Dan and I both live, in the North Bay Area. However, we hope to expand that so that this will be available everywhere. We'll be reaching out to the local WCA teams, and our end goal is that delegates will be able to order these through the marketing team. So that's Project ESC, or as you like to call it, Time Race. Does anyone have any questions? Brendan.
So what happens? Wow, that was what happens when you like start the timer and like stop it on accident? Like for example, and like before the judge takes the cover off.
Yeah. So at this point, the system doesn't. What? Oh, yes. So Brendan, after what happens if you are testing the timer, like you start the timer and you stop it before the judge is supposed to go. Currently, the regulation says it's DNF unless you ask for permission from your judge to practice solve. In this case, the ideal situation is that the judge unlocks the timer from the display, which can be done very easily. So that's kind of the idea for that. In general, competitors shouldn't be doing this, but also, let's say maybe you're letting competitors warm up before, like your first time competitors are letting you use the equipment to get used to it before the competition. As long as they don't tag in, the timers work fine. So that's pretty cool. Does anyone have any other questions? Right here. What's your name?
Sean.
Sean?
A lot of competitions have multiple scramblers looking at one laptop, so is there anything in the system that allows it to work even though you have to tap the scorecard?
Yeah, so basically the way this works is each...
Repeat the question.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So the question was, if you are using one laptop with multiple scramblers, how does it like keep track of this? The idea is to have multiple terminals. So that plug into one computer, you have like maybe if you have 4 scramblers on one laptop, which is probably not a good idea, especially for this system, you would have 4 terminals to plug into the USB hub, and each scrambler will have their own thing to tag. In addition, I'd like to verify that with the system only showing the scrambler that's available, there will be a certain mode that will show just like if you have 2 scramblers, the left side of the screen will show the left side scrambler on the right side of the screen, so the right side of the screen scramblers. But in general, we think that it's totally best to not have more than 2 scramblers per lap. Does that answer your question? Cool. Any other questions? Just get that first.
Connect Bluetooth, Wi-Fi.
Okay, so right now this is effectively direct Wi-Fi. So the way this works is each station is going to connect to a computer, and it is going to effectively connect a router for a whole stage. And this router doesn't connect to anything besides these. And so when you purchase the set, it'll come with a router as well. You don't even have to worry about it, just plug it in and it'll automatically work. So when you do that, yeah, it's going to connect to the Wi-Fi. Yes. What's your name? Jake Maddox. I remember you asked the question upstairs, right? Okay, so the question, we really kind of summarize it because the basic premise of finding sense that the instructor come around is about inspection time, FMC, and what was the other one? Smart keys. Yeah, so currently smart keys are not allowed in WCA. This has to do with the ability for smart keys to connect things and cheat. If they do become available, we'll certainly make this compatible. It's great you brought up inspection. We forgot to make an inspection button. Our plan is to make it so that you don't even have a stopwatch either. You push the inspection button and it starts. And I know sometimes it's really confusing. Okay, when do I stop the inspection? It's kind of an after. You push the button and you lift the cover up at the same time, and it'll automatically add inspection when you stop the timer. There was a question about that. And I'm not even sure if this is broken outside of the account. Did you say something about a tablet? Yeah, so this is FMC with like some kind of tablet buttons that not removed. Currently FMC is done on pen paper, and we don't currently have any plans to support FMC with this. So we don't get rid of every single piece of paper, but it's still pretty good. I've seen meetings not put a pen down the whole time, so yeah. What do you guys think DSP stands for?
Daylight savings time!
It's not the common thing I hear a lot of people talking about.
Digital score taking.
Hey, what's your question? What's your name?
Adam,
Adam.
how does this scrambling system take extra solves into account?
Great question. How does the scrambling system take extra solves into account? The way the scrambling system takes extra solves into account is on the back of this display. It doesn't look like that beautiful back here, but again, this is sort of tight. There's a delegate button. I don't know if you can see that, but the delegate button sends a notification to all the listed delegates that come on their phone, and it says, Dan Passasaw, Station 1. And you go to Dan Passasaw, this one, it'll have like the round information, 3x3, solve one, whatever. And from there, the delegate is able to, from their phone, assign an extra to that solve to replace it. So what happens is the next solve that gets done will be an extra and fill in that spot specifically. Did that answer your question? Cool. Hey, Ben.
When will these be available?
So we don't know exactly when these will be available. We hope to start testing these in a bit of competition alongside smart cards around maybe like late October, maybe a little bit later, but around that area is our goal. I don't want to tell people I don't know, so that I don't look like I'm biased. Any questions? Who's the guy to the far left, like next to Jesse? Other side. What's your question? Wait, what's your name? Damien?
Yeah, Remy.
Remy, okay.
So my question is, so personally, I really am not good at blindfolded. So every time I do an exam, my time goes over 10 minutes. So what happens when the time gets over 10 minutes and it's on the stopwatch and you need to put it in the system?
I love this question because there is, like I mentioned. This goes past 10 minutes. That means you can do like 5 minutes. Okay. Zach.
So I understand it's a prototype, so there's not like an estimated final cost, but how much is one time-based unit like in relation to a standard display? Like, will it be affordable still, or?
So the question was, how affordable is this? Well, we don't know the actual cost. This right here costs us about $35. Dan, so thinks he can answer a little bit better.
So this one was a little bit cheaper. This we did use a lot of just off-the-shelf parts that first thing we could find. For a final design, we're going to take a very different approach to building this, but we're looking for a final cost to be somewhere in the ballpark of like $50 to $60. That's kind of our goal here.
Okay, Chris.
Along those lines, what does a full set of hardware look like for a delegate that has like 8 or 16 stations now?
And really, so a lot of delegates, sorry, I'll repeat the question. I'm really bad at it. Chris asked about how this looks in terms of a delegate storing this kind of equipment, what it looks like in terms of that, right? So ideally, you'll get like a suitcase, that's what you do, and you'll just put all your time-based equipment in there, and it just kind of replaces pretty much everything else. You store all like your exact patterns, and you'll put those in a suitcase, but besides that, it's expected to probably just be in a suitcase. Yes, what's your name? Angeles. Angeles? Okay. Oh, Nicholas. My turn.
Will these be limited to competition, or can I buy one to put on my desk in my house?
So the question was, can I buy this? Or is this just for competition? I'm sure that you probably could buy this, but I think that the limitations would be like none of these features probably are going to do anything at home. I forget what your name is.
Andrew Snyder.
Andrew Snyder.
So you mentioned it goes past 10 minutes. As I understand it, you're still using the same timers, and the 10-minute limit is the limit of the timer. So am I missing something?
No, you are not missing something. The judge still will stop the timer. The competitor will still just, as normal, put their hands down on the surface, and they will stop the timer just as if this is a stop, because effectively that's what this is after. So I know he said no stopwatches, but no unattached stopwatch. It becomes. Keep it great.
Open source?
At the moment, no. But we can ask if it's open source. At the moment, no, but it's possible that it could change. Mostly just Danny, you've been really great.
Alright, so what if there's a little kid competitor and they're in cahoots with the judge? And they want to cheat. How do you prevent that?
So Daniel asks, what if there is a judge who's with a competitor who wants to cheat? I think we could also say, what if someone wants to cheat? In general, I'd say that it's probably about as easy to cheat as it would be on a physical stat pad. I can't quite think of any ways off the top of my head that it would be different, but if anyone has any ideas, please feel free to send me an email or direct message on Facebook or whatever, and we'll think about this, and we'll try to solve it. Chris. Yeah, so Chris, you're asked about this after 10 minutes on the stack mat. The stack mat still turns off. So like I mentioned in the other question, this becomes the stopwatch. So if it does go past 10 minutes, you still have to stop the attempt by just hands down, as you normally would in like normal attempt to go farther than 10 minutes. And the judge will just be expected to stop it from here on the timer. Fletcher.
How would the thing that
It does. It'll be something. Oh, sorry. I'll repeat the question. How does this happen? How does the system know when you're angry? It doesn't. You're the just as you go right it goes over 5 minutes. What's your name and the sponsor for exactly good all shirt? Bridal. Z? Rafiq. What's your question? So what happens is what? Yeah, so if the display gets unplugged, actually, and I don't know what it currently does. Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah. So the way that SpeechStack's timers work, as soon as you stop the time, there's a confirmation that's sent. Without that confirmation, this time won't be finalized. So if you were to unplug the timer during the solve, it's not going to get that confirmation code until you plug in the timer and stop the timer. Or if you stop the timer and then plug it in, it's going to receive the confirmation code then. At that point, it'll be ready to hit OK to scan the tag to confirm the time.
Okay, I feel like you can't. I don't know how much time I have. I'll keep going until they tell me to stop. 10 minutes? Okay. Samuel Barry.
How does entering extras work?
Sam has entering extras work with, I believe I answered this, but I'll answer it again. So on the, basically, I guess I can, so if you have the delegate will assign it, and when the cube comes back, because the way the starting system works, it'll load the extra based up the fact that the extra so that will automatically do that, and the judge doesn't even need to know it's an extra, but it will display that it's an extra automatically. Grace, you lower your hand momentarily and I come and answer the question. Wait, if I can't answer the question. Okay. Matthew.
What happens if you have a provisional extra?
Yeah, good question. If you have a provisional extra, there's actually an option in the app to hub that extra. So you get a choose print of the extra. It'll still also show the original time, and you basically select which one of the extras you want to send. It may be a little bit confusing, but it's just, we're all going to do that. What's your name? Theo. Theo? Okay.
Is it possible to add in time limit so it's automatically CNN?
Yes. So the question was, do you think it's going to add a time limit so how do I get it? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. Cutoffs will automatically be detected by the scrambles. So it won't really be scrambled.
Okay. Let's say you, Calvin Nelson, get a sub 3 on square one, and I'm a hardcore Brendy fan. So I go over to your timer and I click reset. What happens to that time?
Do you want us to see it?
Yes!
Oh, I forgot. It's right here.
Oh, so the question was, what happens if a malicious actor doesn't like the fact that I have a sub 3 square one solve and decides to reset the timer? Let us show you what happens.
Oh, you inbound? Yeah, okay. You talk about anything.
So that'll store all that information. And in terms of the extra a set of default buttons for the most common incidents, like 870 or 90 right now. Probably not 288, more likely 870. And effectively, you can also customize. So like let's say what happened was Mickey ran under my chair during one attempt and see through an apple of my head and accidentally got my blindfold from the site. You could type that out and you can use text-to-speech, although it is blindfolded, you probably shouldn't be using text-to-speech. But yeah, you're able to map all of these details to a mobile and
How do you track frequency using food? It's like if you're a runner picking up a cube, how do you know where it needs to go? Speaking, when I ran the Rubik's Cup at 2019, didn't have some pieces of paper, and it was absolute chaos.
That's a great question. The question is, how do I as a runner know who the cube is or where to run anything? So at this point, what happens is the runner drops the cube and the judge is the one that actually is the one that knows who it is from tagging. But also, the tag is going to be in your name tag. You can choose either order custom ones that have an end, which will mean you off those ones I mentioned earlier, or you can order one of the lane tags and map them yourselves and just slide them inside like the little pouches that you put the prinouts in. So at that point, the competitor is actually putting in their cube, their name tag, and the name tag has the name on it.
One more question.
I was told only one more question. So we gotta have a really good one. What is your name?
What is your name?
Yeah, so the display will show the right now we're not using all the final hardware, so this is still a display that will only show numbers at 10 minutes. So it's still it will just truncate out that first number, which obviously isn't that great. But we'll be using more segments, which will have more numbers. So you'll actually display it down as well. I'm really sorry that there are more questions, but you can feel free to reach out to us online. I'm listening by Facebook or email me if you can find some way to contact me. That is Dan Passishov. You can probably also find a way to contact me. And we'll also be here throughout the rest of the competition. I'll be busy though, so you should probably find him. And that's it. That's the first question. I apologize if I can't answer them all.
I love you, Calvin!
Money shot.
Money shot?
Money shot. The timer.
No, I already got it.
Just reboot it.
That's all right. We gotta hold it up together. That counts. That counts for me.
Thank you.
There's nothing Hoover's trying to do second back.
Presentation.
Am I allowed to? Well, also supposed to know like how it feels like. Yeah, I'm aware.
I need to move some laptops. I need to wait for everyone here to be out of the room, and then we can go.
Can I stay in the room?
You can until I leave. But I'm last one out. Can you help me move 12
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, can I ask you my question though?
And like,
Oh, yeah.
I think if we get
You have a question for me or no?
Okay, yeah, but like I know it's not, but like once if you finalize your team for externals, I don't care. What's up, Lucas? Wait, Lucas, can I borrow you for a second?
Sure.
Later. Oh, later.